Hello ladies and gents, and welcome to another episode of Cycling Insider. In this episode of Cycling Insider I want to talk about another interesting bike from Giant, and this time it's gonna be the 2019 Giant TCR Advanced Pro 1 disc. So up till now you are probably used to Giant and other bike manufacturers giving just this mouthful of names to their bikes, but it seems like that's the trend for 2019. But jokes aside, this is a very interesting offering from Giant. Giant is usually extremely competitive on the price range and also on the equipment they can offer, because Giant is one of the biggest bike manufacturers in the world. Well, to be precise, Giant is the biggest bike manufacturer in the world. And their carbon fiber parts are superb, and they usually do carbon fiber parts for some other manufacturers. So, I'm checking this TCR Advanced Pro 1 disc on the UK website, UK Giant. And the current price for this bike is £2,999 British pounds. And interestingly enough, I see here that you can even get it with the 0% APR, so on a finance, and it would be something like 83.31 pounds per month. So very attractive offer, and if you want to finance your bike, this is an easy way to kind of get your feet wet and get yourself a very good racing bike. But one thing that worries me is that if you quickly check on the US website, you basically can't buy this TCR Advanced Pro 1 model. In US, for all the US listeners, you can go TCR Advanced 0 Pro, which is an absolutely astonishing bike, and I already talked about this bike, but the price jumps, of course, pretty high to $5,250 US. I personally don't understand why Giant, as such a big bike brand, don't offer all of their bikes for all of their markets, but that's definitely a mystery to me. So for this time I'll have to focus on the kind of Euro market and the TCR Advanced Pro 1 disc, which is available in the Europe and in the UK with the current price of 3,000 British pounds. So, without further ado, let's talk about the spec and a bit about why I think that you should definitely consider this bike. When I look at the design of the bike and the color scheme, I have to say I like this one. It's kind of a silver with black and a bit of hint of red. So Giant did a pretty good job with the color scheme here, so I can't complain anything about this color scheme. I would definitely go for it. When I look at the specs of this bike, let's start with the frame. So frame and fork are Giant's carbon fiber advanced grade composite. So as I said, Giant is really famous by producing top-notch carbon fiber frames and forks, so you'll always get the top quality. And of course, Giant offers the lifetime warranty, so you definitely won't have any problems if you have a cracked frame or something happens with your carbon fiber frame and fork. I mean, this Giant's range of TCR is their top racing range, so you are getting a bit more sharper geometry, and this is basically what the pros are riding the TCR advanced bikes. So they are definitely the climbing oriented bikes and pretty sharp handling. Moving on to the handlebar stem, this is all the Giant Contact SL product. This is, I'm guessing, the aluminium handlebars and stem. Seat post is again the Giant's own production, but this time you have a composite seat post, which I always appreciate and like when bike manufacturers include the composite seat post, because it tells me they didn't cut corners. So it's nice to absorb some of the smaller road bumps. Saddle is the Giant's Contact SL. Can't say much about this saddle, but again, if you don't like it, it's a cheap part to replace. So moving on to the group set, we have a full Shimano Ultegra group set on this bike, and this is the mechanical group set. So from the shifters, front mech, rear mech, everything is a mechanical Shimano group set. So you can't go wrong with Shimano's Ultegra group set, mechanical one. It's totally perfect. I'm sorry, if you can afford a bit more pricier bike, definitely go a step up and take the Advanced Pro Zero disc from Giant, which will give you the electronic shifting and a few more details like a power meter. Moving on to the brakes. Brakes are again from Shimano Ultegra. We have hydraulic disc brakes from Shimano Ultegra. Only thing I don't see here is the size of the rotors. I honestly hope it's a 160mm rotors both front and back, because I wouldn't like to see Giant just cutting corners on some small rotors, which will just give you a headache on a long descent. You're just gonna have the problems with the power modulation and generally with the power of stopping power of these small rotors. I don't even know why manufacturers bother with something that's less than 160mm rotors. Cassette is the Ultegra cassette on this bike, 1130. So very nice touch from Giant. Again, no cutting corners. So Shimano Ultegra cassette, 1130, perfectly fine cassette for climbing steep mountains. We have a chain which is KMC 11-speed chain. Don't have anything special to complain about the KMC chain. You will be totally fine. Once when you wear out your chain, approximately after, I would say, something like 2000 kilometers, it's easy to upgrade if you want to get an XTR chain or an Shimano Dura Ace chain level, so it's an easy part to replace. Then we come to the crankset, which originally is Shimano Ultegra, or you have a choice here, if I'm not mistaken, Shimano Ultegra or Praxis Giant Carbon. Although Shimano Ultegra is not a carbon crankset, and this Praxis is a carbon crankset, this is something for you to decide. If you want it a bit lighter, go with the Praxis. If you want kind of standard Shimano reliability, then choose the Ultegra one. And this is 36, 52 chain rings on these both cranksets. Bottom bracket is from Shimano press fit, so you won't have any creaking noises from this bottom bracket. Now we move to the wheels. So the whole wheel set is basically the Giant's own product. So it's the Giant hubs and the Giant rims. This is the Giant SLR disc wheel set. So we have a 42mm both front and back, the height of the rim, and both wheels are 12mm through axles, and this is a carbon fiber wheel set from Giant, which is absolutely nice addition on a bike of 3000 pounds. Tires are Giant's own Giant Gavia tubeless tires, 25mm. So you see the width of the tires is pretty racy, 25mm. If you want to add a bit more comfort, go with something bigger like 28mm tires. You'll definitely have more air inside. It's going to be a bit more comfortable bike. And you have, as an added bonus on this bike, this is the Ride Sense Bluetooth sensor. That's a Giant's own Bluetooth sensor which can pair with different computers that you can use on this bike. As always, Giant doesn't say anything about the bike weight. They have this awkward blurb on their website that it's very hard to accurately determine the bike weight, which I just think it's kind of a bunch of bollocks, and everybody should include the bike weights on different sizes, at least for a reference, but it is what it is. So all in all, as a whole package, Giant TCR Advanced Pro 1 disc bike for 3000 British pounds, I find it very attractive. It's definitely not a cheap bike. It's 3000 pounds after all, but what you get is a carbon fiber frame and fork, top-notch carbon fiber frame and fork from Giant, a lifetime warranty. Also you have a full Shimano Ultegra mechanical group set, and you have Shimano Ultegra hydraulic disc brakes. And this bike comes with the Giant's own carbon fiber wheel set, Giant SLR wheel set, and again a nice touch is the carbon fiber seat post from Giant. So all in all, my opinion is that you should definitely consider this bike if your budget allows it, so 3,000 British pounds. And the good thing again is the lifetime warranty from Giant on carbon fiber frames and forks. And also you can go to any Giant bike dealer and ask for a test ride, so definitely check it out, test it, and then make your decision. So I think this is going to be it for today. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do, please do subscribe, and as always, I will see you soon in the next episode. Pura Vida!